All right, your review for the exponential functions and logarithmic test. Test is going to be tomorrow. You get 1 day to take it. Number 1 says, population of a town is currently 3,200 people, and it's expected to triple every 5 years. How many people will be living in the town after 15 years? It says nothing that you have to write in the equation, so that's only to your benefit. So I'm going to write the equation. The initial amount is 3,200. The rate is it triples. How often does it triple? Every 5 years. And we want to know, so you could put X up here if you want. We want to know after 15 years, what will be the population. So I'm only looking for the answer when it comes to comes to scoring this. So I'm going to plug in 15. 15 divided by 5 is, remember we're doing PEMDAS. 3 to the third is the first thing. So 3 to the third, press enter, and take it times the initial amount. Make sure, can you guys check to see if you have the same answer as me? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Okay, make sure to label it. Can you do me a favor just so I know if I need to slow it down, if you understand? Thumbs up or thumbs down after each problem so I know. Okay, majority of us are thumbs up. We're moving quick. Number 2, we're going to slow it down for 3 and 4. Please don't read those ahead because those are going to be where you can win some stuff here. A radioactive isotope decays exponentially. The time it takes for half the amount to decay is called the half-life. The isotope's half-life is 15 hours. So right away, I'm doing half. That's the rate. It occurs every 15 hours. After 60 hours, there is this much remaining. What is the initial amount? Additional amount always goes right here. So I know that 60 divided by 15 is 4. If not, you could use a calculator to get that amount. At this time, please take 1/2 and raise it to the 4th, or 0.5 raised to the 4th. Okay, so I have this amount, 0.0625 times A is equal to 0.75. My very last step is to solve for A, so I'm going to divide both sides by 0.0625. Now I'm going to try to do this quick on a calculator because I have 4 pages to do for the test. 0.75 divided by 0.0625. Make sure to label it. We're talking about a substance that is in terms of milligrams. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, this is new. Now here's what this is going to do, because even though we're going to push to get through all this, it's still fun to go through this, okay? So looking at number 3, are you ready? Yes. Number 3, I want one person to read it. I'm going to walk around the room and point to your group. Your group gets one guess only. And the guess is going to be, what is the answer to this? You get one guess. Take your calculator and turn it upside down. Oh, hold on. Take your calculator and turn it upside down. Put the pencil down. I literally don't want you to try to figure out the math right now. I want you just to be realistic and use common sense. One person reads quick, go. You have 5 seconds to choose one answer for your group. You may not use a pencil or a calculator, go. Wait, is it, I don't know, together? Like 5 off together? 3, 2, 1. Okay, we don't have time. I'm going to point to your group. If your group does not say an answer, you do 1 push-up. If you say the wrong answer, there's no penalty. Okay, closest group gets a choice of chocolates or strawberries. Go. 36. 63, 36. 48. 64. 160. 72. 128. 72. 162. 168. You said what? 162? 128? 160. 162 is the answer. Which is back group? You will come up and choose either a strawberry each, or you'll choose a chocolate each. I thought you were a group of 4. I thought you guys were like buddies. You don't know that? I'm so sorry. Okay, so then we have another competition. Okay, you ready? Here's the deal. Here's the deal. You ready? How about this? If you can have an answer that's within 1,000, I'll give you either one. Right? Give me your answer within 1,000. Give me a hint. Ready? Go. The same problem. Give me within 1,000. Give me an answer. You say a number. If it's within 1,000 of the answer, I'll give it to you. Never mind, you're confused. Okay. Okay, so anyway, Ben and Robert, you're going to quietly go up and do this. Everybody else, we're going to do this together. Write down Monday, and underneath Monday, put 3. Now I like to abbreviate things. Like I'm going to be lazy about this. Okay. Tuesday is how many? 6. Wednesday is what?
12.
Is 12. Now here's the deal. It says how many total sit-ups has she done? So how many has she completed after 12 days? That means you're adding them all up. Now, if there is no time limit to this test and you had like 2 days to do it, now you could do this. Okay, Thursday, what's the next one? 24, and Friday would be what? 48. You could write them all down for 12 days and then add them up. Does everybody get that? But you don't have that time because you have a big test to do in one class period. So please write this down. You need to know this. If you are gone, it's especially important. So we want to add the first 12 numbers, right? S sub 12 equals. Who remembers what the first number in front is? Start off with what? 3. Then it's 1 subtract, 1 subtract. What's 3? That means how do I go from one number to the next? So 2. And how many numbers do you want to add up? 12. With your partner, you have 15 seconds to get the answer. Go. I love that Anna and Yasmin are matching today. It's awesome. Yeah. Who can I pick on for the next problem? Okay, Ben, very easy to do. It makes it very realistic. Okay, are you ready? So here's the deal. Ben turns 18 next year, and Ben's mom was like, we want to throw Ben a big party. And Ben's like, this is awesome, but the problem is Ben has no friends to invite, right? I mean, other than Robert, because we all know when they're not at school, they're hanging out together. So he knows that Robert will be one of the people that comes, but other than Robert, he's got this big party with Robert and his grandma and his mom. So, Ulysses will occasionally go. No, Ulysses isn't going. Sorry, he's done. So take your calculator and turn it upside down. Can't be figuring this out. Ulysses, if you truly figured it out, don't guess, okay? Okay? No, take your calculator and turn it upside down.
I'm still trying to figure out number 3.
Okay, I'm sorry you're slow. No. Okay, so have one person read this. Put your pencil down and the calculator down for the next competition. Go. One person read it. Okay, you're going to take a guess. You're going to take a guess. Does everybody understand the concept of how this is happening? How many people does Ben himself invite?
4.
And then he never invites anybody else. Doesn't know anybody else, right? So he invites 4 people, and then each one of those people invite how many?
3.
Each one of those people invite how many? 3. Okay, hold on. You're going to take one guess. One guess. I'm going to point to your group. I immediately need an answer. You may not use a calculator right now or a pen. If you've already tried to figure it out, don't guess. What? 972. 972. 144. 64. 85. 108.
It's a pyramid scheme. I'm trying to figure it out. Okay.
164. 112.
I think
112.
112. 152. 108. Okay, what do you think this is? 152. Okay, what did you guys say? 164, 152. Correct answer is 160. This group, you won it. What are you going off of? You won it. Like, dang, I tried to lose again. So, Nick and Son, you want the red chocolate or this? Okay, here's how this works. Here's Ben. That's Ben's hair. And so there's Ben. He has 4 friends. Friend 1, friend 2, friend 3, and friend 4. So he invites 4 people. We're going to call that like round 1 of invitations. Now, each one of those friends invites how many others? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So in round 2, how many people were invited? 12. Now, I don't like to keep drawing the pictures, so let's just start to do this realistically. In round 3, each one of these invited how many? So 3, 3, and 3 is? 3, 3, and 3 is what? So there's 9, 9, 9, and 9, which is 9 times 4, which is 36. Now let's catch on to how we do this. How do I go from 4 to 12? Times 3? times 3, grab a calculator. 108. So I want to see if you're understanding this. I want one person in your group to read the last question out loud. Go ahead. The end of the question here. Okay, stop. And now, without talking, just raise your hand so I understand who gets this. By a raise of hands, how many understand that the answer is he has 108 people invited? Hands up high. Those people are wrong. It's not 107. What do I have to do with all these numbers? Add them up. This is only round 1, round 2, round 3, and round 4. Ben's going to have a whole lot of people coming. I know. Okay, add them up, please. I think you get 160, correct? Okay, so now I'm going to start going into fast mode. Are you ready? So, number 5 right here. You're asked to identify whether we have exponential growth, decay, or neither. If it is growth or decay, the number inside the parentheses that represents the base will be a number. So for instance, I already know the second is not an example because it does not have a number inside. You also need to have a variable as an exponent. Good to go, good to go, good to go, good to go, not good to go. Okay, so with the remaining 4, if the number is greater than 1, it's growth. Greater than 1, it's growth. And if it's between 0 to 1, it is decay. 0 to 1, decay. Really, I should have used the word between. If it's between 0 and 1, it's decay. Going on to number 6. So the key is here, what do you have to have in the exponent position? A variable. You have to have a variable, right? And then the number inside, parentheses, the base has to be a number either greater than 1 or between 0 and 1. Number 5, please have one person read it out loud. Go. Three, 2, and 1. Thank you. In order for us to get through everything. So I write down the initial amount. Here's where I see some mistakes being made. Sons, you can't see from there, can you? Thank you for being honest, and I'm sorry for not recognizing that earlier. Yasmin, can you see from sitting in back? It's okay to say no. Yasmin, can you see? Can you switch with Son so he can see? Thank you. Okay, so in this position, we know the home is going up. It says increasing. So you're going to take 100% and you're going to add it to this percentage. How do I write 105%? Okay, these are simple points. Part B, how much will the home be worth after 15 years? Remember, use PEMDAS. First do exponents, then take it times the number out front. Begin. Check your answer with mine to make sure I didn't make any mistakes. If it says round to the nearest dollar, we'll do that. If not, I'm going to write down exactly what I see. 332,628. So 332,628.51. Thumbs up or thumbs down for 5? Look at 5. Thumbs up or thumbs down for 5? Only 2 of you are participating. This tells me if you're ready. What about number 6? Are we getting it? Okay. Number 7. Now we're going to use some common sense here. Jerry buys a car, it's worth 18,000 something. A year later, it's worth 14,000. Do you think this is growth or decay? Because it's going down. Remember, decay is less than 1. Please watch. If you're rattled tomorrow, you're taking the test, you're a little nervous, and you happen to plug it in wrong, look what you would get. If you plug it in the wrong, do you see how this is a growth model? It's greater than 1. So we're going to flip it. Can everybody please divide? 14,430 divided by 18,500. End up with an answer of 0.78. So your equation is your original amount times 0.78 raised to the x. A lot of students in previous hours thought there should be a 1 in front because they're just used to doing that. Remember, the 1 in front represents growth. This is not growth. Now here's the tricky part. 100% means you are maintaining. Are we maintaining or going up or down? Which one are we doing? Down. Now, how far do we go down from 100%? What is it from 100% down to 78%? How much of a decrease is that? 22%. Taking 100% minus 78%. Flip over, please. Please do second plus 712 on your calculator. Second plus 712. Circle the -5. Draw an arrow in front of the 3. Circle the -5 and draw an arrow in front of the 3. The reason I want you to do that is when you plug this into your calculator, it's too easy sometimes to make mistakes with parentheses. So we're going to plug in the -5 first, then +3. Now how do you get that E? You hit the second button and go down to find the LN button. Then an X with a parenthesis behind it, and we're going to hit graph. Now you have to be exact with this graph, so you don't need a highlighter unless you want me to really be able to see it, but a pencil or pen would work. This circle I want you to write here, and we can abbreviate. We're going to write horizontal asymptote. So please go to -5 on your graph, whatever that number is, and make a dotted line. Remember, it's not actually part of the graph. It's just a boundary line. That's why it's dotted. It says that we must label all parts. So if I don't label this, it is wrong. So you're going to label this. It cuts through the y-axis. Each point along this has a value of -5, a y value of -5. Now this is where it gets easier initially. On everybody's calculator, when you press trace one time, automatically it will show what the y-intercept. For this problem, it is at 0, -2. So go to 0, -2 and make a dot and label it. We also have to identify what the y or what the x-intercept is, and we can approximate to the nearest tenth of a number, but we do need to find out what it is. So please hit second, trace 0, and press enter. It says left bound. That means, is it left of this current point? Sure it is. Press enter. Now it asks for right bound, so go above the x-intercept, so it's above the x-axis. Press enter. And now guess means go over the top of it. Rounded to the nearest tenth would be 0.5. So we're going to go to 0.5, and you have to label it. So 0.5 and 0. So now I'm going to cut through those 2 points, making the same shape that I see on the graphing calculator. And please ensure that you have arrows on both ends, meaning that it is continuous. Now on to the end behavior for part B. All end behaviors start like this. And I'm going to put in, so this is a g of x function. You need to be able to fill in this little box each time. Everything else remains the same for every problem. Now what does this mean? This means as you go to the left, what's happening? You're going to have 3 options. It's either going to continue to go up, continue to go down, or it's going to get closer and closer to a line every time, up, down, or to a line. So as you go to the left, what is it doing? Is it going up, all the way down, or to a line? And what line is it? Now as you go to the right, is it going up, down, or to a line? As you go to the right, it's going up. Go on to part C. Write D for domain and R for range. The domain, is there any limitations on this graph how far it can go to the left? None. Is there any limitations how far it can continue to go to the right? None. So it's going to be from -infinity to positive. Make sure you have parentheses on either side. That means it doesn't touch the infinities. It's impossible to touch that number. It's not a firm number. Range. Robert. Range. How far down does this go? -5. Does it ever touch -5? So it's -5 up to positive infinity. Does not touch either one. Parentheses on both sides. Thank you. Bless you. No, because it doesn't touch -5. It just gets close to it. We're going to practice. I'm going to teach you to do 9, and we're going to practice a few more like it. So this should have said, here's the general equation. Can everybody write this down? Here's your general equation for exponential. Now, anytime you want to shift it left or right, it's going to be up in this position is where you're going to see it. So this is what we call the horizontal shift up here. And anything in back is going to be the vertical shift. So if you're told to shift it down 2, in back you go -2. And if you're told to shift it to the right 6, it's going to be x. Anybody have a guess? -6. So if I said to you, This time I want you to shift it left one and up one. Left one and up one. What would that look like? Please don't say anything, but put it on your paper. Left one and up one. So left one would be represented as x, anyone? Plus 1, and up one would be plus 1. Please make sure your partner understands. We're going to go on to number 10 next. Okay, number 10. Please do second plus 7, 1, 2. Okay, I will not be at school tomorrow as my son has 2 doctor's appointments, follow-ups with some surgery issues. So when you hit your calculator tomorrow, the first thing you're going to do is hit stat. And after you hit stat and you hit edit, what must you see in the first blank? L1 and if you don't have that, you're going to put it away and grab another calculator from here in the box, okay? So L1 and then L2. At this time, can you plug in these numbers into L1 and into L2? Go ahead. This would be the one part of your test that I would make sure to try to slow down because it's really easy to make a small mistake and you have nobody else to compare your answers with. So maybe even look over your answers once you get done plugging them in. So part A says, can you write an equation of the exponential model we have, and we're going to round the answers to the nearest hundredth. So hit stat, go to calculate, and go down to exponential regression, and press enter twice. Some of you may need to press enter a few more times. Okay, so now we need to round to the nearest hundredth. That means it's 171.46. So y equals 171.46. That's the initial value. Times the rate. Round it to the nearest hundredth is the key. 0.99 raised to the x. Then leave this on your calculator. If you didn't get this, it just means you messed up and plug in one of the numbers, or you didn't go to exponential regression. Can you raise your hands? How many have this on your calculator right now? Bless you. Great. Go up and hit y equals. You should have nothing there right now. Do you guys have a blank? Okay, going to go through this slowly. What we're going to do right now is we're going to insert exactly what this equation is. Bless you. But not the rounded version. So pay attention. Hit bars. Go to statistics. Go to EQ and press enter. Now go to Windows. This first column represents your x's. The smallest number is 0. The largest number is 50. So let's go 0 to 50. Now go down to the y's. The second column represents your y's. The smallest number is 100.5, so I'm going to write 100. The largest number is 179.5. I'll write 180. Make sure they're in that order from smallest to largest. Then hit graph. Okay, so part B says, determine when, so know what time is it, when the coffee is a temperature of 120 degrees. So degrees is the unit I use in the second column. That means they're giving you the y. Please write y equals 120 degrees. We want to know what is the x. When they give you the y, go back and hit y. Go to y sub 2, and type in 120 degrees and press graph. So how do we find where they intersect? What are the buttons we hit? Second trace and intersect. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. I want you to get the answer and round to the nearest minute. How many of you have an answer of approximately 30 minutes? Hands up high. So I'm going to use the approximately symbols, approximately 30 minutes. Part C says, predict the temperature when the time is 70 minutes. So I'm given minutes. Minutes is the unit in the first column. So please write x equals 70. Now here's the problem. Go up to Windows. Right now, does our window range go to 70? So change the 50 into a 70 and hit graph. And then from there, it's pretty easy. You're going to hit second trace value. Second trace value. And type in 70, and we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So I have 74.94. The 4 says it stays the same. So 74.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Flip over, please. I need to grab a quick paper. I'd like to see if you can have 1 and 2 done in less than a minute. As soon as you're done with 1 and 2, look up at my answers. Go. You may work with your partner. Go as quick as you can right now. Switch the X and Y. Now isolate the Y. So we want to eliminate log base 11 and make this into an exponent. There's your base. Exponent, there's your base. Now move 5 to the opposite side by adding. And you have 11 raised to the x plus 5 equals y. Denote it as an inverse. Done. So I'm done with 11. Check your answer to number 11. Number 12 is a little trickier. Switch to x and y. Move 9 over. Opposite of negative 9 is a positive 9. Now to eliminate the e, I'm going to do a log base e to both sides. Make sure to keep the x plus 9 in parentheses. Cancels out. Remember that log base e is the same thing as ln, so feel free to change those out. Subtract 5. If you do not put the x plus 9 in parentheses, it will be wrong. I have 2 different answers. They're equivalent. One uses a log base e, the other one uses an ln. Does anybody have questions? Okay, go down to number 13. It says, this is the log form. What is the exponential form? So please make these boxes. Your base will remain the same. So the base up here is 2. That means this is 2. We're going to go across the equal sign and grab whatever's on the opposite side. That will become the exponent. And we go back, and whatever's behind the base is the answer. Now to solve it, 2 raised to the x plus 3 equals 64. I'm going to do the log base 2 on both sides to eliminate the 2. Please check for me. Let's check. Log base 2 of 64. I know the answer, but check. Do log of 64, enter, divided by log of 2, enter. Is it a nice firm answer? Yes or no?
Yes.
And what is it?
6.
So I have x plus 3 equals 6, subtract 3, and we get x equals 3. What if it wasn't a nice answer? What if it was like log base 2 of 70? Well, then you could leave it in that form and subtract 3 behind the whole thing. Going on to number 14. Start by adding 7 to the opposite side. To eliminate the 3, I'm going to do a log base 3. Log base 3 and 3 cancel out, and the 4x comes down. Now I want to isolate the x, so opposite of multiplying is dividing. And here's the exact answer. Now how do you know, do you give the exact or do you give a rounded answer? If it does not state it, I would accept either one. But I'd love to see you leave it in the exact answer form. It's easier for me to grade. Okay? Going on right now to number 15. Myra purchased $250 worth of stock in the Wonderful Workers Worldwide stock in January of 2010. The value of the stock was expected to consistently increase by 4.5% per year. When will the stock reach 400? So in what year and what part during that year? So let's go with what is the equation? Well, we start with 250. We know it increases, so 1 point, and turn this into a decimal, 0.45 raised to the x. We want to know, when is that equal to 400? So start dividing both sides by 250. Can you plug it into your calculator to see, is it a nice decimal or is it an ongoing decimal? Is it a nice decimal or ongoing? Is 1.6 exact? It is, okay. Now we need to eliminate the 1.045, so let's do the log base of 1.045 to both sides. The right-hand side cancels, bring down the x. Now plug this into your calculator. Do log of the back entered divided by log of the base. Does anybody have an answer for me? Approximation? 10.7? 10.6? Something like that? Okay, so what does this mean? Well, 10 years after the beginning of 2010, this is the key, it's the beginning of 2010. 10 years later would be January 2020. But it's not exactly at the beginning. Do you see how it's midway through?
Yeah.
So I get all this work and then I'm going to write an answer. So the answer would be midway through 2020, or halfway through 2020. But if you just say 2020, how do I know if it's at the beginning or the middle or the end? Okay? You're putting that into words after I see your work. If it would have given you an answer like 10.1, you could have said at the beginning of 2020. If it was an answer like 10.9, we could have said at the end of 2020. Similar problem for number 16. It says that this equation expresses how much money you have in your bank account. And you want to know, when is that going to equal 1,200? So let's write 1,200 equals 450 times e raised to the 0.12t. So to solve this, let's start eliminating the outside. So get rid of the 450. Can you please take 1,200 and divide it by 450 to tell me, is it a nice decimal? No, it's not nice, okay, because we don't want to round something. Okay, now we have to get rid of e. How do you get rid of e?
Natural law?
Very good. What's another way to write it?
Or log e?
Yep, log base e or natural log. Good. So the right-hand side cancels. I bring down 0.12t. And I want to figure out what this is. So on your calculator, please do ln of 1,200 divided by 450 and leave the decimal on your calculator. Go ahead. Okay, so we have this number. We're not going to write it down. Okay, that represents this. And the very last step to isolate this t is still to divide by 0.12. So this represents how many years it will take until you reach 1,200. So in terms of words, what can we say? It would take, well, is 8 years exactly going to get you that amount? So what does this 0.1 mean afterwards? A little louder for me, Danielle? Yeah, so a little more than 8 years, right? A little more than 8 years. If you say exactly 8 years is not going to be right. It's a little more than 8 years before you reach the 1,200. What'd you say?
Near the beginning.
Near the beginning, yep. a little after 8 years. Okay, next one, we want to find the same base here. Same base. So a good base here would be 4, 4 squared, and 4 to the third. 4x plus 1 and x minus 3. Okay, can I distribute after I cancel out my bases because they're the same to get 8x plus 2 equals 3x minus 9. Now I want to solve for x. I'm going to choose to move this x over. Opposite of positive 3 is negative 3x. Move the 2 over to the opposite side. Opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. And divide by 5 to get negative 11 fifths. Okay, let's look at this next one. You ready? Down here. Express the nth term of this. So if we want to find, you did this yesterday in a quiz, but we want to review it. What's wrong? No, I know. This is your quiz. Flip to the back side. We're practicing. Okay, so, like those that have not taken the quiz, just realize that when you take a quiz, it's going to be different numbers, right? So those that have taken the quiz, we want to find the nth term of this sequence. So first of all, we're going to do a sub, we want to find 12. A sub 12 equals, what's the first number in the sequence? How do I get from one number to the next? Well, to figure that out, take the second divided by the first, and you get an answer of negative 2, n minus 1. I want to figure out the 12th number, so do I put a 12 here? 12 minus 1 is? Please plug it into the calculator. Get an answer for me. 6,144. Do you have that? Flip to the back. Express the sum of the first 21. So S of 21 equals, what's the first number in the sequence? 5. Do you have to have this memorized? Yes. 1 subtract, 1 subtract. What's the rate? How do I go from one number to the next? Okay, if you didn't know that, how do you figure it out? Second divided by first, right? So 2 raised to the 21st, right? So figure this out right now with your partner. Go ahead.